This is my presentation, my informative speech, All That Glitters, with the pretty pictures. If we were in class, oh, and how I wish we were, but if we were in class, I would have you all do some kind of visual component to the informative and the persuasive speech. We're not. I've discovered myself that it's a lot more complicated to do this online and then get it posted and all of that. So I'm not requiring it, but I really wanted you to see my speech with the slides. I want you to understand how that changes the dynamics of giving a presentation. And if you ever find yourself at work or some such place where you need to use slides, uh, for your presentation, you're going to find that they're really quite helpful. First of all, the visual aspect helps keep the audience attention. There's something to look at. Also, they become notes for you to look at as you're giving the presentation. You don't have to look at your outline as much. Now, I don't use any videos. In fact, I absolutely forbid using videos in speeches in my classes. Why? If you really need to use a video in a presentation, you need to keep it very short, because it takes away from the speaker. You just become a projectionist when you hit the play button. So keep that in mind if you ever actually find yourself having to give some kind of PowerPoint or whatever presentation. Um, Either don't use video or keep them to an absolute minimum. So let me do All That Glitters, and you can watch it with the slides and see how it changes. I have my outline right here. Yes, I'm still using my outline, and away we go. Let's see here. Let me get myself uh, set up. All right. Hello, I'm Ray Shabinsky, and I'm fascinated by gold. Now, back on August 17th, 2017, astronomers heard shock waves using this very strange observatory in Louisiana. And they actually heard the collision of two massive stars in a galaxy 1.5 billion light years away. They were neutron stars. And when this occurred, when these two stars collided and destroyed each other, not only was there destruction, but there was creation as well. Because in an event like that, the heavy elements are formed. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is I've already told you I like gold, but I'm also an astronomer. I've taught astronomy, as you well know, write for Astronomy Magazine, written a book, the whole thing. And so this story really fascinates me. Now, the story of gold goes way back. But before I tell you that story, just to let you know what's going to happen in the speech, I'm going to talk about what ancient people thought about gold, the fact that there's not very much gold in efforts to make more of it, and then finally, how science discovered the true cosmic nature of gold. Now, as I said, the desire for gold goes way back. In the book Nature and Culture, Gold, Nature and Culture, they say that the authors say that humans probably discovered gold maybe 7,000 years ago, who knows, but a long time ago. It was just a shiny rock. Maybe it was found in a stream. Now, gold is very soft. Pure gold is very soft. So it's not very useful for anything but decorations like jewelry, maybe coins. And so that's pretty much what it was used for a very, very long time. Most famous example of this is the tomb of King Tutankhamun, about 3,500 years ago. The mummy of Tutankhamun was covered with a mask of pure gold, and there was even a pure gold dagger wrapped in the linens of the mummy. But why did they do this? Well, part of it was that gold was different than other metals, like silver, which turns black, or copper that goes green, and iron that rusts. Only gold stays the same. Now, they didn't know the true nature of gold. In fact, we didn't know that till the 20th century. And so for them, gold seemed to be immortal, fit for the gods. According to Barron's financial report back in 2016, uh, there was about 166,000 metric tons of gold at that time. There's a little bit more now. Today, that would be worth close to $9 billion. Sounds like a lot of gold to me. But turns out that much gold really doesn't take up much room. A cube of solid gold, if you took all that gold, made a cube out of it, it would only be about 70 feet on a side. If you melted it all down, it would only fill 3 Olympic size swimming pools. So you can see there's not a whole lot of it. So people started trying to figure out a way to make their own gold. Well, it turns out that this isn't as easy as you might think. These alchemists came up with all kinds of interesting ways to create this element. And here's part of a formula. Combine 1 part fiery dragon, some doves of Diana, and at least 7 eagles of Mercury. And you get, well, you don't get any gold, unfortunately. The heat and chemicals just didn't work. Uh, so, even the great scientist Isaac Newton was fascinated by alchemy, but he wasn't really interested in making gold. He was trying to learn more about the true nature of the elements. And that's what we've done today. In the 20th century, science finally is telling us the truth about this very special element. Now, gold, if you've ever taken a chemistry class and you've looked at the periodic table, is element number 69. Chemically, gold is very special because it doesn't react with oxygen. Silver, copper, iron, and many other metals do. And as a result, they oxidize. Gold doesn't do that. It always stays the same. That's why the ancients thought it was immortal. And in some ways, they were right. Gold is, again, there's that periodic table, is one of the densest of all the metals on the periodic table. Uh, and how do you even form something like this? Well, you need a lot of heat and pressure to do it. And according to The Magic Furnace by Marcus Cowan, the only place you can find that kind of heat and pressure is deep inside of stars. That's where the heavy elements are formed. But you can only go so far with just one star. If you want to make gold, silver, iron, and some of the other really heavy elements, you need a cosmic collision. And that's exactly what astronomers heard. They didn't see it, what they heard in 2017. When those 2 massive neutron stars collided, not only did they destroy themselves, but the heat and pressure was great enough for just an instant to create iron, uranium, gold, silver, and all the heavy elements. We think something like that may have happened in our little part of the galaxy, perhaps 5 billion years ago, and that those heavy elements, including gold, were seeded into the early solar system, and that's why we have gold on Earth. So, the story of gold is much more interesting now that we know the cosmic origins and the science behind it. The ancients sensed the power of gold in its seeming immortality and connection to the gods. Alchemists tried to make more gold because there wasn't very much, but they had no idea of the pressures and temperatures that were required to form this element. And then finally, in the 20th and 21st century, we know the true origins of this heavy metal. So, today, gold pervades our lives. Ancient people worshipped gold as immortal and as a gift from the gods. And they weren't really too far off. Gold has a cosmic connection that helps bind us to the cosmos. The next time you notice that you're wearing that gold chain or feel a gold ringer on your finger, just remember that gold is a gift from the stars. thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed my little talk about gold. Here are my references. All right, so there you go. There's my presentation with the slides. I think you can see how much it changes, how the dynamics are totally different when you have the images. It really makes a difference. Again, you are not required to do this. It's just more than we can do in an online situation like this. As long as we're looking at my uh, references here, again, remember, keep them simple. I just want to know where you're getting the information. There's 5 of them on here. I added a 6th one on my actual outline. You can go to the outline. This PowerPoint is also in the Canvas files. You can look at it again if you want. But this is all you have to do. There's no MLA formatting here. It's just the name of the book, The Magic Furnace, for example. Uh, Origins of the Atoms, 2004, Marcus Cohen. That's all I need. This is an online source, Barron's Financial Report. And on my outline, I actually say online source, just so everyone knows that I got that off the web. But do you see a web address here? Did I copy and paste a web address onto my references? No. And I don't want you to do that either. I want to see the actual title of the article or book that you used. If you know the publication date, add that, and the authors. That's all I need to know so that I can see where the information is coming from. And remember, you need to use those references in the speech. I did that. Main point number 1, gold, nature and culture. Main point number 2, Barron's Financial Report. Main point number 3, the Magic Furnace. I use those in the speech. You've got to say 3 of these references out loud in the speech. Why? It's all about credibility, isn't it? We want to know where the information is coming from. As always, I hope this is helpful. Uh, Once more, please don't think you have to do a slideshow with your presentation, but I just wanted you to see how it looks with the visuals. So I hope this is useful to you, and we'll be seeing you again soon. Thanks very much.